This is BullionMax, wholesale metals made easy. Hi, I'm Mark Allen, and our guest, as always, customer service manager for BullionMax, Sean Reynolds. Sean, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again, Mark.
We're going to talk today about a report that came out from Goldman Sachs. They have a report that's just come out on commodities. It's a research report, and you have some information that you can share with us, and we'll tie this into like a financial weather report, if you will.
Yeah, since we always kick off the podcast with a financial weather report, we thought we would borrow this information from Goldman Sachs. So there's part of me that wants to say, this week's weather report is brought to you by Goldman Sachs, but it's not. They are not a sponsor of this. This is just their information. We decided to share it with you. But here's what's interesting about it. So they've crunched the numbers. If you're not familiar with who Goldman Sachs is, I mean, they are a really wealth management people. And what they do primarily is help people choose stocks and grow their wealth that way. Not that they don't play in the metal space, but really they're more likely to recommend a stock for you than they are to make a recommendation about a precious metal. And so that's why this is so unique, this information. So they issued a commodities report, and spoiler alert, they're going to upgrade the gold forecast. They're going to say it's a long gold trading recommendation. So what that means is buy and hold that stuff. Now, again, it's interesting because they would probably really rather recommend stocks for you. So it is kind of against their best interest to do this. But then again, that's what makes this information seem a lot more important and why we wanted to make it part of the weather report today.
It can or does Goldman Sachs sell commodities such as precious metals?
I think they can make recommendations, but I don't know firsthand whether or not that's something that they can assist with a purchase. But you know what? I'd rather they buy from BullionMax.
Oh, of course.
On their recommendation, naturally, to buy from BullionMax.
Which is what they've done by saying that gold is a good is now a good upgraded investment strategy.
Absolutely. And here are some of the reasons why they make that statement. Okay, so gold tends to rally during rate hikes. And what are we talking about coming up? We're talking about mortgage rates possibly coming up in March and other adjustments to the interest rates to try to hedge off the inflation that we're experiencing. And so here we are. Gold does well in that atmosphere. All right. And then, well, let's get back to inflation again. Okay, it is one of the best hedges against bad inflation because your dollars remain dollars because you have a precious metal and it's tied to the market. It's not a dollar that's tied to other dollars and continues to lose its value as we continue to print more money. So again, strong recommendation from someone who doesn't normally play in this space at this level. Okay, and then again, so it is a great hedge against inflation. But let's face it, a lot of people are investing in Bitcoin as well, and the volatility of that. It's ideal to try to balance your investments out with something that is a little more of a steady eddy than the just the sheer heart attack roller coaster rides of what you can experience with Bitcoin.
Right.
So it's a way to just kind of set something to make sure you don't lose everything, because a lot of dollars are won and lost every day in crypto. So just a lot more risk there. Okay.
And you told a story on one of our last episodes about friends of yours who had invested heavily in the market. They lost everything, including their home, because they had all their eggs in that proverbial one basket.
$1.2 million in Enron. That just became nothing, absolutely nothing. And that would never happen if you purchase gold. Gold is always going to be worth something, and currently, it's holding pretty steady at about $1,800. It went up to about $1,860 last week. Sometimes it scoots a little under $1,800, but it seems to be lately comfortable at about $1,800. But obviously with the forecast from these folks, definitely they're seeing an upside to it in the near future and in the long term. So,
and gold holds its own, as you said.
Absolutely. You don't see the volatility. You don't see the big spikes and dips. Not that they never happen, but it usually corrects itself pretty quickly. Before too long, we're going to start to experiencing things that can really dictate its future movement upward and it's staying there. And I think ultimately that's some of those specifics are in that report, but that's kind of the general feel. Is it may be a slow and steady, but it's going to go up. If it stays here, it's going to be above here and then continue to move slowly, but not be a situation like, all of a sudden the gold market goes down and, we won't see it at $1,100 an ounce again like we saw in 2015.
Right.
At least there's no reason I can see why that would happen. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think most people who are in the game would consider me crazy if I all of a sudden started saying it's going to lose half its value. Oh my God. No.
Well, we're talking specifically right now about gold.
Yes.
But was a report about all precious metals?
This was specifically about gold.
Okay.
And so I think that's really saying something to have it called out that way. I mean, silver also has its own reasons for being for its positive upside, all of the industrial uses of it. At one point in its history, it has traded at twice its value. For one hot second in 2011, it was about $50 an ounce. Okay, well, it could double, and that's within that range. But gold hasn't. But they're seeing things about it in our current environment that gold is good for this, gold is good for this, gold is good for this, and just the list stacks up. Just about everything that's good about gold is the current environment that we're in, and of course the what's great is in bull markets, gold tends to do well then. And then also when all kinds of world unrest is going on, gold is the geopolitical hedge of last resort, so to speak.
Right. So. Well, we should take a look at their arguments. We should take a look at how they've listed how gold will help. I mean, you've already said it's a hedge against inflation, but there are other arguments for buying gold right now.
Right. It primarily is the rallying during rate hikes. That's on the horizon. Inflation is already here. Managing the bottom end of your investments, if you otherwise have very risky stuff, gold's a great play. So those are some of the main reasons that they really felt that gold in particular is a good buy and hold type of product for your investment portfolio.
There's a note here that says gold is a hedge against bad inflation. Can you explain that in a little detail? Because is there good inflation and bad inflation?
Well, I think bad inflation doesn't really show when the end is. So you don't know whether or not it's temporary. It's too early to tell, but it's not good. And it's been higher than it's been. So that would be the way that I would define bad inflation. You're right, there is no good inflation. I mean, there are certainly acceptable percentages of inflation, and I think everyone would agree we've gone beyond what's normally acceptable or what we're used to, certainly, for inflation. But I think it's... in the United States right now, it's here to stay for longer than initially expected. And right now, we're just hanging in to find out how bad is bad.
And in other countries, I mean, you could have inflation at such a rate that you're now using millions of dollars or whatever dollars are in a country.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
to buy a loaf of
Zimbabwe
bread.
dollars, yes.
Yes.
Where you have $100 trillion bills. Yeah, you kind of get maybe a burger and fries for that. 100 trillion.
Right.
That's inflation, okay? That is inflation.
That is
Can you
inflation.
imagine the wallets they have to keep that folding capital in there? And you can't.
Oh my God. They'd have to have wheelbarrows full of cash.
Right, virtually. Right? And that is, I think there's a certain amount of that comes to mind when you talk about inflation and your dollar becoming valueless. You know, people start to imagine, walking around with a wheelbarrow full of dollars, and because it's useless. But you know, that's one of the primary drivers of purchasing gold is that fear. Now, that really helps people want to invest for all of the reasons we just mentioned, because they don't want that inflation. They want their dollars to continue to have a particular value. Okay, that's one category. Then the other one is just wealth, you know. Then that's when people start purchasing gold as luxury items. So what's interesting about that is it kind of brings to mind that gold isn't just an investment, it's also a lifestyle. As my CPA would say, it's a lifestyle choice when you do that. So whether you're buying, you know, a monster box of Eagles, or whether you're getting a couple of trays of gold bars, you know, and each of those trays has 20 gold bars, or you're getting a Rolex, there's demand for gold there. And so I think that's what they're starting to call out, is there's a certain fear factor that's going to drive demand in the market. But then luxury, when you got it, flaunt it. You know, those who have who have gold and have wealth might buy things that are not necessarily specifically for investment, but most definitely are made of gold.
And those would be heavy chains, bracelets, you know, earrings.
Yeah, around my neck. Yeah, I got a clock exactly. As well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Is gold a geopolitical hedge of last resort?
Well, it does sound kind of ominous to say so.
Yeah.
But, you know, nothing solves problems like a big stack of cash when you get right down to it. But if you have gold instead of a big stack of cash, you're even better off, because it's always going to hold that value. So regardless of the factors that run around it, it's going to still be what it is. It may increase in value because people want more gold because of its ability to hold its value. And so, you know, most definitely a geopolitical hedge of last resort, because if the bottom's going to drop out, gold is what you want. Because
of what Goldman Sachs has said, that gold is a good long-term buy. That's my interpretation of what you've said. Let's take a look at some top gold picks at BullionMax.
Sure. Well, I can tell you this. There are two types of customers that we tend to see at BullionMax. We have those who can afford to purchase 1 or more ounces of gold at a time, and those who can't. So for those who are not familiar with purchasing gold, usually buying a full ounce of gold is your best value. You know, part of it is economy of scale. There are more 1 ounce gold bars out there than different sizes. Similarly with gold coins. That's the most common format, so that's the most manufactured. So I'm sure manufacturing costs are also part of why they have a lower premium. Higher mintage, lower premium. So they're cranking out more of them. But okay, if you can't do that, though, there's a category of things that are called fractional gold. And that would be anything that weighs less than the full ounce of gold. And we're really excited because we just got in a bunch of fractional gold items for 2022. And one of the ones that I really like and I think is a great pick are the gold maples. And the reason that I like them, there are a number of reasons that I like them. You'll hear me gush about Canadian mint products all day long. Excuse me, but they have, first and foremost, they're gorgeous. Look at that. I have that over my shoulder there. We were saying shop for gold coins. You see the gold leaf there. That is a pure gold coin. It's not an alloy. So the whole weight of that coin is gold.
Wow.
Gorgeous. 24 karat coin. The detail on the coin is outstanding. It has that kind of that sunshine ray that comes from the middle, and you have the detail on the leaf itself, and then below the leaf you have kind of a privy mark there that is a maple leaf inside a maple leaf. And so you have all kinds of different things in there that just dare counterfeiters to try to copy that coin.
It is absolutely stunning.
And it's almost like they have a chip on their shoulder from a pricing standpoint. So in addition to being a pure gold coin, they also carry a much lower premium than the American Eagles do. So they're kind of like, okay, we're pure gold, we're gorgeous, and we're cheaper. We're less expensive. You might just want to buy the maples instead of those eagles you were thinking about. Because, there's money in it on their end as well. I mean, the mint does charge something to create the coins.
Sure.
So, of course, they're going to want people to buy them. But they are a great buy. So whether you purchase them in the quarter ounce or the half ounce, I think we may have the 10th ounce as well. They are a really, really good value for those people who are looking for fractional gold options. Other things that we've got some fun stuff in the shop right now. Actually, we have a Formula One a special coin, and it is in an assay. And for those who are not familiar with what an assay is, it has its own protective and informative kind of protection, if you will. It looks like it's about the size of a credit card. You can see the coin through it. It always mentions the weight of the coin, the metal it's made of, and the purity, and the mint. And that particular one is a Pamp Suisse. So there's quality in that coin. Now, it too is less expensive than an eagle currently. And as you always consider your liquidation strategy, you may not know who your trading partner is going to be today. So it's kind of nice to have a variety of things when you are going to barter, sell, trade, liquidate, whatever word you want to use. That may be something your future person is interested in buying, and who knows, they might pay you a little bit more for it because it's not the standard thing. And it is going to be limited edition things.
And our viewers can learn more by going to the BullionMax website. We have that up here while we're talking, and learn more about all these different coins and bars. And we encourage you to learn more about investing in gold, silver, platinum, and other metals by visiting the website. It's very simple, it's very easy, and it's very user-friendly. There's no, the navigation is very easy, and it's very, very simple. And we encourage you to visit BullionMax.com. As we continue, you're talking about, a buyout strategy, right? Before I buy gold, or somebody buys gold, silver, etc., should they think about that strategy in advance?
It is helpful to consider who your future trading partner is. I mean, people can always plan to sell back to BullionMax. That's just one of many options. I typically encourage people to find some local traders in case they only need to liquidate a couple of things and they need the money right now. In that situation, it's helpful to get out and meet these people, and don't just go in every time you've got something to sell. You want to kind of check them out a little bit and ask them some questions before it's the day to sell, and establish a bit of a relationship there. So then, you're not just using them when you need to dump your metals, so to speak. And I'm saying that in kind of a harsh tone, because that might be what the person who's buying thinks about you. So it's helpful for this person you don't know to have a variety of things to sell them, because if you have 1,000 of something and they already have plenty of that, they may not be too eager to purchase what you've got. They'll probably still make you an offer for it, but it may not be for the kind of money that you were hoping to get out of it.
Right.
If you have a variety of things and a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of that, they're not going to pay you less because you're overloading them. That's one thing you're taking away from them to pay you less. Mm-hmm. So that's where the Formula One card coin is a great choice, because it's a very affordable coin. It's a little unique. You have the manufacturer of the PAMP Swiss Mint. So there's nothing to not like about that, but it just happens to carry a lower premium. So that's a good buy. And that's why we always encourage people to take a look at what's in the shop today. Things are going to change over time. And as we get good buys on things, we'll put them out there. We'll make them affordable. It's that variety really is also what makes it fun when you invest. If you're always just buying the same old thing again and again and again, and you're stressed about buying it, and hey, I made this month's purchase and all that, but I'm not having any fun. Whew.
Yeah.
Slow down a little bit, breathe, and shop.
Yeah.
And so you're absolutely right. It is easy when you go to BullionMax.com and check it out. For what we've been talking about here, just go to gold and then look at gold coins. Just hover over to gold coins, and then you'll see we've even split them out by their different weights. So if you want fractionals, go over to the half ounce or quarter ounce or 10th ounce coins. Go directly there. Don't sift through every single size if what you want is the quarter ounce, and we make it easy for you to do so.
Right. And that's very important as a consumer. There's another coin from the Perth Mint that I'd like you to talk to us about.
Yes, absolutely. Another great fractional coin that we have is the striped marlin. And it is from the Perth Mint, again, quarter ounce. Now, it too is a pure gold coin. It actually says on it that it's 4 nines pure, which is great. So it's just as pure as the maple leaf. Striking design. Perth's artwork is always stellar. But again, another coin that has a very reasonable premium over spot. So if you only have so much money, you might be able to get one more coin because you purchased that coin because it was less expensive than some other things. And that's another way that you tend to build your portfolio, is you don't always buy the expensive thing that's out there because that's what you feel you ought to buy. It depends on where you're at and what you're doing and what your goals are. If you're collecting ounces, that acquisition cost or those premiums do matter. And that's a great coin to kind of get more gold in your portfolio for a lower cost.
It would seem to me also that these fractional coins are great for first-time buyers.
Yes, let's face it. So an ounce of gold is the best way to buy it because it's going to have the lowest premium, but it's still expensive because the market's at about $1,800. You add premium on top of that, you're looking at about $1,900 for a coin or a gold bar, right? But most of the people that I talk to, that again, if they're in the category of they can't afford a full ounce or more than a full ounce, usually they're looking at fractionals. So not only is it things like the quarter ounce and the half ounce, but we also have the 20 franc coins, which are we have the French roosters, or we have the Swiss francs, and those are kind of fun because those were that's currency that was traded around World War I time, and those it's just a little less than a fifth of an ounce of gold in them, and I want to say they run about $3.75 or so, depending upon the market, but again, great acquisition cost. The history of the coin is almost why you're buying it. You're buying it to be able to trade it later, or whatever your liquidation strategy is. But you're going to hold gold, a reasonable amount of gold, at a reasonable price. So those are great piece.
I just wrote, I wrote down vintage and history, as you were saying, history. And so my thought is that people buy coins for different reasons. One is investment, and one is for the history. To have a coin from World War I, wow.
Yes.
That would be awesome, right? I mean, I think that'd be
maybe
really,
even before then. Some of them date back to the 1800s. I mean, that is a piece of history. I like to imagine what types of things might have been purchased with those 20 franc coins. We talk about it being our ability to purchase, milk, bread, and eggs in the future. Well, I bet it was used for that, 100 plus years ago, too.
Right. And so people buy for the art, the history, as well as the investment potential.
Absolutely. And that's where the variety starts to kick in. And I think that's also where you start to enjoy it a little bit more, simply because you're not always doing the same thing. And so when I show people who are new to purchasing gold, the fractionals, I always show them the 20 francs as well, because it's in a similar price class, it's in a similar weight class, but then you have that historical element as well, and they're just fun.
Yeah, no, that sounds like I'd love to see that, And,
what's interesting is one thing people do, and I'm not sure if it's because they're testing us out and they're just placing a little order, but we get a lot of people who purchase the 1 gram gold bars from Valcambia or the Perth Mint, and I have no idea why they make them, because there's almost as much premium as there is market value of gold in there. So they are really affordable, not going to lie, but it's not how you'd buy gold. By the time you're done with your full ounce of gold, you've spent about $2,300 on an ounce of gold. Well, market value is 18 on the gold itself. So that's not a good value. I recommend people just hang in there. If I know people get anxious and I just want to buy some gold and I just want to hold it, my recommendation would be, all right, if you're thinking about 1 gram, shoot for the 5 grams. Don't purchase anything until you get to that point. It's almost like making sure that your order equals $199 or better, so then you're not paying for shipping either.
Right.
Just wait. Make sure that the dollars you're putting into your purchase, it buys you as much metal as you can. And so shipping is one of those things where it's a shame that, that's part of it. But let's face it, we also can't just ship everything for free.
Of course not. But at the same time, with your customer service and the care that you at BullionMax give, I mean, that's a great value. If you spend $199, you get free shipping on your order. And at the same time, as you're buying, metals of one kind or another, bars or rounds or coins, and you're investing in yourself and your family. And I think that's an important aspect too.
I always congratulate people when they tell me I've been thinking about it for a long time, and this is a big decision for us, and they actually place that first purchase with me. I always congratulate them on getting started, because now that they've done it, first of all, that's going to feel amazing, because they know all the reasons why they are purchasing it and why it's important to them and their family. And now they've done it. That is something to be recognized. So then now that they've started, they've got goals for what they want to do in the future. And again, I always recommend that they take a look at the site and take a look at what's new and what does it cost and do you like it and does it fit with your goals and all of those things. We are here to help people know what we have, so they can make decisions for themselves on what they want to purchase for their investment.
As we wrap up on this edition, what are some of the best deals that you have right now? I know you've mentioned some, but you have some others as well.
Always the 1 ounce Valcambi Gold Bar is extremely competitively priced. It is a great Swiss mint. It is a highly regarded product and something that would be, easy to sell. People would be happy to see a Valcambi bar when it becomes your liquidation day. Also, those fractionals right now, those new 22s, check those out. Again, the maples are going to be your best bang for the buck. That Formula One coin and the marlin. Those currently in the shop are outstanding, but we are constantly adding stuff all the time. So when you visit us, if you're looking at fractionals, take a look and see what's new and what do things cost. We make it easy to compare them on the page, so you can just eyeball it and go, wow, I haven't seen that one, I'm going to go check that out. What about that? And we like to add great descriptions that are very helpful. So you go, okay, it looks like something that I like. Tell me more about it. And our descriptions are outstanding on our website. I think it's actually fun and informative to read. And I'm not just saying that because, this is my company. It's true. You have some things that are like just the facts, man. You get Joe Friday's version of precious metals. We've got a little bit of a sense of humor. We've got a little bit of sense of history. And I think that's going to be a big point of difference going forward as people look at the other options that are out there. People are going to see our price. They're going to know our service, but they're also going to know we don't take this so seriously that you can't have fun with it. And I think you'll catch that in the tone of some of our descriptions of products.
I can see Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory.
Yes,
is doing history instead of history of flags, history of coins.
We're coin nerds. We're not gonna deny it. We love this stuff. We know a lot about it, and we just love to share that enthusiasm for people who are interested in getting started.
Well, we invite you to visit us at BullionMax.com. BullionMax.com. Look around, explore, and go back on a regular basis because, as Sean has said, the shop changes. Things sell out, new things come in constantly. So it's an ever constantly changing store that's for you to browse, to learn, and to buy and invest. Sean, thank you very much for your time today. We'll see you on our next episode.
Very good. Always a pleasure, Mark.
Thank you. I'm Mark Allen, and you're watching Bullion Max. Okay.